Do you think being in the war was worth it?
What a question. No war is worth it. I could even find arguments, I guess, against the World War II, which is, I guess, the closest we can say to being worth it. That and the Revolutionary War. I think every other war this nation's fought has certainly not been worth it. From certainly the Civil War, and which I compare Iraq to. I think the Civil War and the Iraq War are probably two of the greatest mistakes. I consider the Iraq War a much greater mistake than the Vietnam War. I had a teacher here at Reardon who argued with me that back, I don't know, last year, I guess, year before last. He said, which war is worse, you think, Iraq or Vietnam? And I said, I think Iraq was much worse. He says, why? You lost 50,000 people, in Vietnam. We only lost 4,000 in Iraq. I said, the primary reason is because we didn't learn. We made the mistake in Vietnam, and I said, then all of a sudden we turn around, 30 years later, and we make a mistake just as badly. I said, to me, it's like shooting yourself in your right foot, and then, 20 years later, you shoot yourself in the left foot. I mean, we didn't learn from it. And to me, that's why the Iraq War was so much worse. In fact, after Vietnam, there were a lot of people that said, never again will we do something like this unsupported, unnecessary war. And we turn around, 40 years later, and we have another war, which is, to me, worse, even though not as many casualties. I don't know if you guys know how many people are lined up for VA service now. Anybody know? You guys know?
No.
Over 600,000. That's a lot of casualties. People will say, well, we only lost 4,000. No, we've got 600,000 vets now with post-traumatic stress, with traumatic brain injuries. Almost 750,000. And people don't realize that. They point at the 4,000 and the 50,000. But I don't know how many post-traumatic stress Vietnam vets there are, but I know there are well over 500,000 from Iraq. So the casualty rate's a lot higher than you think.
Okay. If you had the chance to go back to fight in the war, would you? Why or why not?
Well, once again, you come into justification. And we tried to justify Iraq, with 9/11, by attacking a country that had nothing to do with 9/11. But, if there were a real reason, to safeguard your family, your country, yes, I could see doing it again. I actually, after 9/11, I would have probably gone back and hunted for Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. And I would have been probably volunteered to go over and fly helicopter missions, searching for bin Laden. Unfortunately, we forgot about bin Laden and invaded Iraq.
Did you have any nightmares after you returned from the war?
Never had a single one that I can recall. There were probably, during the war, we lost a few people, and a few nights while I was there, I would have trouble sleeping. But I don't think I ever lost a minute of sleep. And I keep pounding on Iraq. I guess I shouldn't. I lost more sleep after we invaded Iraq than I ever did over anything that happened in Vietnam. I just kept saying, this is such a huge mistake. And that was the time when everybody was saying, when I say everybody, the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense were all saying a 6-month war and, it'll be over with. And I was saying, you guys are lying, we'll be there for years. And of course I was right, but it's neither here nor there.